As I began writing my chapter, I worried about preserving family secrets. I minimized and downplayed the magnitude of my loss and rejection, and I had a difficult time explaining those challenging experiences. I was careful with my words as a means of protecting my family and my relationship, and I filtered my story to mitigate possible hurt to others. Because of that, the first few drafts were disjointed and vague. Then I had a revelation, an epiphany of sorts. No one was going to be served as long as I played small. Healing would definitely be out of reach for me or anyone who read my story.
Hey everybody, welcome to Finding the Upside. I'm your host, Maria de Lorenzis Reyes. Welcome to this special podcast series starting today, Real Women, 7 Minutes of Transformation. These presentations were recorded at the Revive and Thrive Summit that we had last year. Each episode that you're about to hear is a part of a larger collaboration. It's a collective of women who came together not just to share their story, but to create something meaningful together. These conversations are the foundation of an upcoming collaborative book project that we're launching later this year. Every woman featured in this series is a contributing author to that book. These episodes exist to share the moments that change us and to remind you that your story matters more than you think. Let's begin.
As I began writing my chapter, I worried about preserving family secrets. I minimized and downplayed the magnitude of my loss and rejection, and I had a difficult time explaining those challenging experiences. I was careful with my words as a means of protecting my family and my relationship, and I filtered my story to mitigate possible hurt to others. Because of that, the first few drafts were disjointed and vague. Then I had a revelation, an epiphany of sorts. No one was going to be served as long as I played small. Healing would definitely be out of reach for me or anyone who read my story. When I finally decided to sit down and write, pouring everything onto paper, that's when the magnitude and depth of my experience came to life. No filters, no judgment, no minimization. True, raw, and real. That's where the words from my chapter were born. I hadn't shared the whole story with anyone. Sure, many people knew pieces of it because they were present in my life. They knew of my divorce, of my daughter's mental health struggles and many hospitalizations. A few even knew of my estrangement from my maternal family. Only my husband and my therapist knew the emotional toll it was taking from all that life was challenging me with. This writing process, though, gave me an opportunity to honor my own experience without shooting shots across the bow or burning bridges. Writing brought me healing and clarity, and as I typed, edited, shared, and polished my story, I could measure my progress. I embraced that growth that I created by stepping way, way outside my comfort zone. Putting myself out there for the world to read my story removed fear and hesitation from conversations and connection. Even though past events had shaped my belief about being vulnerable, I learned a new truth. Being vulnerable is neither scary nor dangerous. Sharing creates opportunities for connection, and it removes barriers. Learning to be vulnerable also helped me with my skill of discernment, which was poorly developed. Writing and sharing about my past allowed me to relook at that tough exterior and brave face that I so often like to wear. I was fiercely independent and, unfortunately, deeply lonely. Because I constantly wore a mask, my discernment was clouded making it difficult for me to identify friends from foes. Things I shared in confidence with people who I thought I could trust were twisted and disclosed, leading to unnecessary pain and confusion. For me, though, something shifted when I shared my story. It cracked me wide open. It gave me permission to stop pretending, to drop my layers of armor, and to reconnect with who I'm truly meant to be. Because I no longer have to hide behind that false bravado, I'm allowing myself to feel my feelings fully, to embrace the full spectrum of life, the beautiful highs and lows, and those unexpected in-betweens. Writing and sharing my story didn't magically free me from pain, shame, guilt, fear, hurt, or even loss. But it ignited that sense of strength that allowed me to create richer friendships and more meaningful relationships. It also showed me and revealed how much resilience I'd created in the process. Before writing, and really most of my life, I felt like an outsider. Like I was watching my life as the party of my life happened inside. Seen, but never truly known. Not anymore. I refuse to be sidelined by fear or stuck in that constant loop of people-pleasing. I no longer demand perfection of myself or expect that I have all the answers. Instead, I've learned to extend grace, both to myself and to those experiencing the complexities of life. Just this past month, I was invited to a professional dinner with some female colleagues. One of the women knew me, and she knew me very well. She's someone I look up to. She's consistent, compassionate, tenacious, and I absolutely gravitate to that. She's a mentor who met me on this journey nearly a decade ago. She asked me really tough questions, and she offers me that space to answer by modeling acceptance and patience. Dinner included myself and 4 other women, all from fiercely competitive, male-dominated worlds. 5 women who are wives, soldiers, deputies, police officers, mothers, and business owners. 5 women who've excelled in careers that are anything but welcoming. All of us shared a passion and commitment to hostage negotiation, which was a common thread that brought us there together that night. But dinner was an invitation to connect and share. And because I know the beauty of being vulnerable, I found so many more threads of connection as we shared food, stories, and compassion. I shared about my daughter and her many mental health struggles and her many hospitalizations. I shared that we'd spent a lot of time in one of the towns where one of the women patrols. Because of that share, she told me that she too had a teen who was experiencing mental health struggles, and he had been recently admitted to the same facility my daughter had been at 7 years ago. Because of that share, because I allowed myself to be vulnerable, I learned so much more about her. Before this writing journey, that would have never happened, by the way. I would have never allowed that level of vulnerability. Now I get to walk alongside her, if she chooses, sharing common stories and validating her experience. Those women from dinner that evening have gained a place in my story. I'll be cheering them on as they make progress, face challenges, and create pivots. If our paths cross, you'll be met with presence. You'll be deeply heard and genuinely seen because I no longer have to hide behind that mask. That's the gift this writing experience has given me, the courage to show up fully and the ability to give that same space to others. Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with us. Every story you've heard in this series is a part of that larger collaboration, this collective of women who came together to share their real experiences, real growth, and real transformation. Again, these conversations are the foundation of our collaborative book launching later this year. If something in today's episode resonated with you, let that be an invitation to reflect, to get curious, and to consider what part of your own story may be ready to be shared. You'll hear more about the book as we move forward and each episode launches. And you'll hear more about the women behind it as well. Until then, thank you for being a part of this journey and for honoring the power of real stories.